everyone, my name is Ashley Martin and I'll be sharing some information about the Bullitt Center with you all today. The Bullitt Center is located at 1501 East Madison Street in Seattle, Washington. It is a 5,200 square foot office building in the private market sector. The project cost totaled $32.5 million and construction was completed on Earth Day, April 22, 2013. An extensive project team was needed to complete the very intricate and complex Bullitt Center project. Key members include the owner, the Bullitt Foundation, development partner, Point 32, architect, Miller Hull, mechanical engineer and future tenant, PAE, and finally, the general contractor, Schuart. The Bullitt Foundation wanted to select a framework that would challenge the design team to push sustainable technology as far as possible, and therefore they selected the Living Building Challenge, the most rigorous and challenging accreditation. The LBC accreditation is comprised of 7 different categories referred to as petals. These 7 LBC petals are site, water, energy, health, materials, equity, and beauty. To help the Bullitt Center with their LBC goals and to encourage more projects to take on the LBC Challenge, Seattle created a Living Building Challenge pilot program. Through this pilot program, it was determined that many aspects of sustainable construction were completely against code, and therefore a new citywide ordinance was added to allow leeway for sustainable projects. The site selection process for the Bullitt Center was focused around being easily accessible to downtown Seattle through public transit and in possession of the many natural characteristics needed to meet LBC criteria. The 2 main benefits of the Bullitt Center location is the access to unobstructed sunlight and green space. This is created in large part by neighboring properties, a religious temple that is significantly shorter than zoning requirements, and McGilver Place Park, a neglected traffic median available for the Bullitt Center to use for green space. Net zero energy is an integral part for the LBC requirements. The roof at the Bullitt Center was fitted out with 575 solar panel modules, creating a 14,000 square foot photovoltaic array. During the first year of operations, the panels generated 243,761 kilowatt hours of solar energy, only 60% of what was needed for building systems. Even with this significant excess, tenants are still required to be conservative with their energy uses as part of their lease agreement. However, reaching net zero energy was not obtained without permitting problems. Since there is no category for solar panel overhangs onto city sidewalks, a code exemption through the Living Building Challenge pilot program was made to label the solar panel overhang as a canopy. To obtain the goal of net positive water, a collection system was incorporated into the center's roof. This collection system stores 237,400 gallons of water required for the building's functions. Storing rainwater allows for the water to be treated for both potable and non-potable uses, while also helping to minimize runoff and flooding concerns in the area. After the water is used within the building, it is treated and given back to the environment through wetlands constructed for groundwater recharge. The Bullitt Center also faced difficulties with code and regulation approval when attempting to establish the center as an independent water district. While the rainwater was filtered and treated to meet regulation standards, the current regulations were not written in such a manner that allowed for a commercial building to be designated as an independent water district. A notable material utilized to meet LBC criteria was the use of heavy timber framing instead of a typical concrete core. Timber is more sustainable than concrete due to the high amounts of greenhouse gases produced during the concrete curing process. To successfully execute the heavy timber framing construction, Schuart and key subcontractors were involved in the design process early on. Since heavy timber framing is no longer a common practice in the United States, the general contractor had to relearn the old timber construction technique and modify it to fit with current day equipment. To promote health, wellness, and overall happiness, LBC requires that every building user be within 30 feet of natural light and fresh air. The design team completed a full study of the light movement at the project site to determine the best placement for windows. To optimize the amount of time spent by the windows, workspaces were placed along the exterior of the floors directly next to operable windows. This direct access to natural light and fresh air is shown to increase both health and happiness. The main financial backing for the Bullitt Center was provided by the building owner, the Bullitt Foundation. Unfortunately, obtaining outside financial support for the Bullitt Center development was a difficult task. Many banks and financial institutions were hesitant to provide loans as sustainable development on the level of the center was so far above the standard. However, a small amount of federal and local funding was obtained for the project through the Treasury Department's Federal 1603 program and Seattle's Office of Economic Development's Recovery Zone Funding Bonds and New Market Tax Credit allocations. The Bullitt Center fulfills the beauty requirement of the Living Building Challenge through its extensive educational programming. The Bullitt Foundation has published an extensive amount of material on sustainable construction and operations, including many lessons learned, all made available to the public at no cost. The Bullitt Foundation even went a step further by making the center itself accessible to the public through weekly tours. With the publicity, the Bullitt Foundation has used the center as a platform to demonstrate what is possible in terms of sustainable development. So how does the Bullitt Center measure up? The Bullitt Foundation, Living Building Challenge, and GRESB share many of the same goals, and as a result, the Bullitt Center performs very well in many of GRESB's reporting categories. Frameworks like the Living Building Challenge and GRESB provide rigorous sustainability goals that help to shape the construction of sustainable projects and the continued operations of the Bullitt Center. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my presentation. I have included the sources of work here for anyone who may be interested. Thank you.